Hi, welcome to today's lesson on economics. So today I'll be taking the price system and elasticity. Basically, it's a continuation of the price system we talked about in the previous class. So to start with, we'll be looking at the introduction of elasticity, the definition basically, as well as the definition of price elasticity of demand and income elasticity of demand. Then we'll also look at cross elasticity of demand. So to begin with, we have to define what that price elasticity of demand is, or elasticity first. Then, okay, so the price system, under the price system and elasticity of demand, I'm defining the price system first of all. So the price system is a fundamental concept in economics that refers to the mechanism by which prices are determined in a market economy. So it is the interaction of supply and demand that establishes prices for goods and services. So the price system plays a crucial role in allocating resources efficiently by transmitting information about the relative scarcity of goods and services. So prices serve as signals to producers and consumers because it influences their decisions on production and consumption. So understanding the price system is really a um, is really relevant in economical aspects because it helps us to understand how markets function as well as how changes in market conditions affect prices and quantities of goods and services which are exchanged. So under the elasticity of demand, the elasticity of demand is a measure of how much the quantity demanded of a goods responds to a change in the price of that goods. So moving down to the price elasticity of demand, which is the PED. The price elasticity of demand measures the responsiveness of the quantity demanded of a good to a change in its price. So it is calculated as the percentage change in quantity demanded in response to a percentage change in price. So the formula for price elasticity of demand is price elasticity equals to percentage change in quantity demanded over percentage change in price. So basically that's the formula for the price elasticity of demand. So if the price elasticity is greater than 1, the demand is elastic, meaning that a small change in price leads to a large change in quantity demanded. So if the price elasticity is less than 1, the demand becomes inelastic, meaning that a change in price has a small effect on quantity demanded. So understanding price elasticity of demand helps our businesses in order to make informed pricing decisions and as well as predicting the impact of price changes on sales. So down to the diagram for the price elasticity of demand. This is the diagram for the price elasticity of demand. It says that there is a change in price which leads to a bigger percentage change in the demand. So this is basically how the curve slopes. So let's move down to the income elasticity of demand. That's the YED. Basically, that's the abbreviation for it. The price elasticity of demand, the abbreviation for it was PED, while this one now is YED. So the income elasticity of demand measures the responsiveness of the quantity demanded of a goods to a change in consumers' income. So it is calculated as the percentage change in quantity demanded in response to a percentage change in income. So this formula, the formula for the income elasticity of demand is income elasticity equals to percentage change in quantity demanded over percentage change in income. So if the income elasticity is positive, the goods is a normal goods, meaning that the demand increases as income increases also. But if the income elasticity is negative, that means the good is an inferior goods, meaning that the demand decreases as the income increases. So understanding the income elasticity of demand can help understand how it affects the demand for products. So please kindly remember the formulas in case you are given a question to solve on that. So The next aspect, but before that, is the diagram of the income elasticity of demand. So the diagram for the income elasticity of demand, here you can see the income and the quantity, and this one has to do with how the income increases as well as how the quantity also increases. So it's basically a normal goods, that is the percentage change in quantity demanded over the percentage change in income, meaning that the demand increases as the income increases. So the next aspect is the cross elasticity of demand. The cross elasticity of demand measures the responsiveness of the quantity demanded of one goods to a change in the price of another goods. So it is calculated as the percentage change in quantity demanded of one good in response to a percentage change in the price of the other goods. So the formula for the cross elasticity of demand is cross elasticity equals to percentage change in quantity demanded of goods A. Let's just take goods A for example. I'm using a letter now. You can use any other letter if you want. You can use letter B, letter C. But I'm using letter A for example. So the formula is cross elasticity equals to percentage change in quantity demanded of goods A over percentage change in price of goods demanded in good B. So if the cross elasticity is positive, the goods are substitutes, meaning that an increase in the price of one goods leads to an increase in the price of another goods. So if the cross elasticity is also negative, that means the goods are complements, meaning that an increase in the price of one good leads to a decrease in demand for the other good. So understanding this can help in understanding economic aspects of the economy. So, like I mentioned, the formula of the cross elasticity, the price elasticity, and the income elasticity. Let me quickly mention the formula for the price elasticity as a form of remembrance, basically. So I mentioned earlier that the formula for the price elasticity is equal to percentage change in quantity demanded over percentage change in price, meaning that if the price elasticity is greater than 1, the demand is elastic. Take note, if the price of the if the price elasticity is greater than 1, the demand is elastic. But if the price elasticity is less than 1, then the demand is inelastic, meaning that there is a change in price and also has a small effect on the quantity demanded. Therefore, the formula for the income elasticity of demand, the formula there is income elasticity of demand equals to percentage change in quantity demanded over percentage change in income. So if the income elasticity is positive, that means the goods is a normal goods. But if the elasticity is negative, that means the goods is an inferior goods, meaning that the demand decreases as income increases. But for the positive aspects or the normal goods, it means that the demand increases as income increases. Then lastly, for the formula for the cross elasticity of demand, the cross elasticity of demand is equals to percentage change in quantity demanded over percentage change in price of goods. That's I'm taking goods A and goods B for example. So if there's percentage change in quantity demanded of goods A, that means there will be percentage change in price of goods B. So if the cross elasticity is positive, just as how I explained the income elasticity of demand. So if the cross elasticity is positive, that means the goods are substitute, meaning that there's an increase in the price of one goods that leads to an increase in demand for the other goods. But if the cross elasticity is negative, that means the goods are complements, meaning that an increase in the price of goods leads to a decrease in demand for the other goods. So let's look at the other aspects that we need to take, and that's the here's the diagram for the cross elasticity of demand, as well as the formula and how to go on about it. Please, at your leisure time, do well to check it. So let's quickly look at the determinants of elasticity. Okay, so there are several factors that influence elasticity values, including the availability of substitutes, the proportion of income spent on the goods, the necessity of the products, time available for consumers to adjust their behavior, and lastly, the brand loyalty. So, under the determinants of elasticity, one determinant there is the elasticity and total revenue, whereby the relationship between elasticity and total revenue is very crucial for businesses. So, total revenue is the product of price and quantity sold. So, when demand is elastic, a decrease in price leads to an increase in quantity demanded that is proportionally larger than the price decrease, resulting in an increase in total revenue. So, when demand is inelastic as well, the price decreases leading to a small increase in quantity demanded, resulting in a decrease in total revenue. So this is one of the determinants of elasticity, that's the elasticity and total revenue. Another determinant is the business application of elasticity. Under the business application of elasticity, it has numerous business applications. So businesses use elasticity to predict the impact of price changes on sales and revenue. So by understanding the price elasticity of demand for their products, businesses can make informed decisions about pricing strategies such as whether to increase or decrease their income or their prices. So businesses also use income elasticity to predict how changes in income will affect the demand for their product. So we also have another determinant as the real life application of elasticity. So the elasticity has numerous real life applications beyond businesses. So policymakers use elasticity in order to predict the impact of tax changes or other policy interventions. More on the real life application of elasticity. So as you're looking at your screen now, you know what it says there. It says that the elasticity principles are applied in retail, transportation, public policy, global markets, and also supermarkets adjust prices based on the elasticity data, and also airlines use elasticity to segment prices, and governments apply taxes more heavily on inelastic goods like fuel or cigarettes. So the real life application of elasticity can be seen under taxation policies, public health policies, and estimate the elasticity value as well as monitor and adjust. So under the taxation policy, the policy makers, we know who the policy makers are now, the government. So the policy makers use elasticity to determine the impact of tax changes on consumer behavior as well as revenue generation. For example, if the demand for a particular good is elastic, a tax increase may lead to a significant decrease in consumption, resulting in reduced revenue generation. Then, under the public health policy, the elasticity can be used to design effective public health policies, such as taxation on sugary drinks or tobacco products or even cigarettes. So, by understanding the price elasticity of demand for these goods, policymakers can be able to predict the impact of tax changes on consumption and also design policies that achieve the desired health outcomes. So in order to apply the elasticity in real life scenario, let's quickly look at the following steps basically. Let me just mention some few steps in order to apply this elasticity of demand to real life cases. So one of the steps is to identify the type of elasticity. To identify the type of elasticity is by determining how which elasticity is relevant to the scenario, such as the price elasticity, the income elasticity, or the cross elasticity. So, which of them is relevant to a particular case or relevant to a particular scenario? Let's take, for example, the taxation aspect, whereby the government tries to um, increase the income or the taxes of a inferior goods like fuel or the rest. So the income elasticity that we are going to use, sorry, the type of elasticity we are going to use here is basically the price elasticity of demand in order to look at the impact of it on the economy. So another step is to estimate the elasticity value. By estimating the elasticity value, you can make use of historical data or market research. So this will help predict the impact of changes in market conditions on consumer behavior. Another step is to analyze the results after estimating the elasticity value. So analyzing the results of the elasticity estimate helps to make informed decisions. For example, if the price elasticity, now I'm taking one of the elasticity demand types, one of the type of elasticity demand. So for example, now if the price elasticity of demand is elastic, a business may decide to decrease prices in order to increase their revenue. For example, now if Dangote was to decide to reduce his price on sugar or cement, he's basically looking at a way to increase his income or increase his generation, basically. So another step there is to monitor and adjust. To monitor and adjust is needed because elasticity values can change over time due to changes in consumer preference, income levels, or market conditions. So by following these steps and understanding the concept of elasticity, businesses and policymakers can make informed decisions in order to achieve desired outcomes in various real life scenarios. So in conclusion to what I said, I defined what price elasticity is, income elasticity, as well as cross elasticity, and also define what elasticity is, as well as the standards for elasticity and the rest. So, like I mentioned earlier, the price system, when I was defining it, I defined the price system first off because the topic we are treating is the price system and elasticity demand. So the price system, like I defined, is a fundamental concept in economics that refers to the mechanism by which prices are determined in a market economy. So, and under the elasticity demand, I said that the elasticity demand is a measure of how much the quantity demanded of a goods responds to a change in the price of that goods. So I also went ahead to explain what price elasticity of demand is, income elasticity of demand, and cross elasticity of demand. So I think I'm done for today. In our next lesson, we'll be taking another topic on economics. Thank you very much.